Here we go. This is Vegas Tales. I'm waiting for people to get in here. You want to know what the cast of Star Trek Voyager does when its fucking Voyager's done? This shit.
Thank you for meeting with me. If this is your first visit to the Bellflower Casino Resort, I hope you're finding it a pleasant one. I've owned this place for over 30 years. Running the Bellflower has been my life's work. A life which is almost over. I have terminal cancer.
Jesus.
I've been fighting it for years, but my time is coming to an end.
Jesus
I've already
Christ.
come to terms with my condition, but it leaves me with a problem. I never found time to start a family, and I don't have any close friends. This hotel is all I have to leave to this world. It's my legacy, but I have no one to carry on that legacy once I'm gone. I need you to help me decide on the best person, each of whom has a strong connection to this hotel. Unfortunately, I don't know any of them very well. I've invited them all here for the weekend, under the guise paid a healthy stipend for their time, so you'll likely find them willing to answer any questions you may have. I want you to learn everything you can about them, and report back to me if you discover anything relevant. Their names are Ashley, Mallory, Sarah, and the last one is a couple of newlyweds named Todd and Becca. Ashley is a magician. She's been holding her magic show here at the Bellflower since we added a theater during our last renovation. She's been here longer than any employee, and she's as financially tied to this place as anybody, aside from myself. She's a private person, so I don't know much about her personal life. Mallory is the unluckiest person I've ever met.
She's the
She's
fucking
also one of the
cringiest.
nicest.
Pull
I've
your
never
hair
seen
out
so much
listening to
tragedy
her
befall
shit.
Such an undeserving person.
Oh my
I
god.
unfairly gave her a hard time when we first met, but we get along well now. I gave her a complimentary stay here at the hotel to apologize, and she wouldn't stop talking about how much she loved it here. I think she might even like my hotel more than I do.
Jesus Christ.
Like the others on my list,
That's
don't know
Tuvok,
very
bro.
much about her.
Oh god.
Sarah is the daughter of the Goodley family. She's been staying here with her parents on family vacations for years. That family is so wholesome that they make the Brady Bunch seem edgy. They're a welcome breath of fresh air here in Las Vegas, and I love the idea of someone with very strong moral values like Sarah taking over the hotel.
Who am I gonna choose first? The fucking Goody family?
I barely know anything about those two. Their names are Becca and Todd. I met them today when they were checking in. They came to
Tuvok,
Las
not
Vegas to get
Tupac.
married, and this trip is also doubling as their honeymoon. Yeah, I know it must seem odd to consider leaving my estate to a couple I barely know, but honestly, I barely know any of the people I'm considering.
Oh
I
god.
figure that if they're staying here for their wedding and their honeymoon, then
Jesus Christ,
they're going to
Tuvok.
have a very strong emotional connection to the Bellflower Hotel. Plus, it almost seems like fate that they happened to check in today while I'm trying to make this decision. I'm counting on you to ascertain whether or not they're good people worthy of consideration as heirs.
Am I talking to her, the magician? Am I talking to her, the unluckiest person in the universe? Am I talking to the Goody family? Am I talking to the couple? Ha! Deb?
My name is Becca.
And I'm Todd.
We're from New York City.
Yeah, that was a lot.
This is where Todd said we had to stay when we came to Vegas.
Yeah, we're in town for our wedding.
We actually ran into the owner of the hotel while we were checking in, and he overheard us saying we were getting married, so he upgraded us to a big suite,
Yeah.
which was such a nice surprise.
And he was even more surprised when he asked if we wanted to be interviewed for your book. I mean, this is certainly turning out to be a memorable trip.
I would hope it'd already be memorable, what with our wedding and all.
Oh, of course, of course, of course. It was a poor choice of words on my part. I mean, I love New York. We have the best sports teams, the best nightclubs, the best restaurants. It's such an incredible place to live.
Even if I didn't have to live there for work, I don't think I could ever move.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many things you can only get in New York you can't get anywhere else. You should really visit if you haven't been before.
There's this brony convention Todd goes to every year. And even if we moved, he'd have to go back every year. No way he could miss it. It's all he talks about for a month leading up to it.
Brody convention. Ah!
It's a convention for My Little Pony fans.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds.
I mean, lots of adults go. Actually, it's almost entirely adults who go. I think the TV show is super sweet, but I've only been with Todd once. They don't really like girls going. I think it kind of messes with the whole bro part of brony.
A Las Vegas wedding was her idea. I told her we could get married anywhere that she wanted.
Vegas seemed perfect. It's affordable, and it can double as a honeymoon.
Oh, plus it has casinos. She loves those.
Oh, and it has strip clubs. Todd loves those. He actually made a list of all the clubs he wants to see before we leave.
It was just a list of places. There's one club on the list, but it's places that I want to see from the outside.
Todd grew up in a very religious household, so he can be a little embarrassed about these things. It's okay, sweetie. I've seen your list. It's perfectly normal for a man to want to see naked ladies.
I wanted to get married in a church back home, but Becca wanted to do something original. Isn't that right, dear?
Yet we also couldn't afford a big wedding. You know, Todd's work has been a little slow lately.
Well, I'm an actor, and all actors have dry spells. Just part of the industry. Plus, Becca has a lot of debt, so we probably shouldn't be spending too much money right now.
Right now he's actually playing Elmo in Times Square. He takes his picture with tourists all day. He's so cute in the costume.
I'm not Elmo.
Legally, he is a generic red creature, but we all know who he's supposed to be. I think street performer is more of an appropriate term. He's never done any sort of stage acting.
But I do have some exciting things lined up, actually. I'm going to be in an upcoming film in New York.
It's a role in an unpaid student film, but it's a great start.
It's a very promising student film. It's going to be seen by a lot of people, and the exposure is worth more than the money, believe me.
It's a film about campus safety. They say that new students are going to see it for years to come. I just wish Todd had booked a speaking part. He has the talent.
Oh, well, thank you, dear. Thank you.
Todd's family is very religious, very devout.
Oh, I'm not as devout as the rest of them.
Oh, no, you're just being modest. He's the only boyfriend I've ever had who insisted on keeping his virginity until we get married. I mean, how impressive is that? Yeah, I took out a lot of student loans. I would have been more than happy going to an affordable law school, but Daddy insisted I go to Harvard if I wanted to work at the family firm. So I will probably be paying that off for years. I don't know why Todd puts up with me and all my baggage.
Don't.
Kennedy, Seymour, and Cartwright. Michael Kennedy's my father. Barbara Cartwright is my mother. It's not the biggest firm in New York, but we do all right.
Oh, I'm not a student. I just responded to an ad on the internet.
He actually dropped out of high school.
I wanted to focus on my career. Yeah, I was actually working for a cell phone company at the time, and it was a great job. I was making good money, and I wanted to move up, but they downsized, and a lot of us lost our jobs.
They laid off all the sign spinners at once, which was such a shame because Todd was so talented at it. We actually met when he was sign spinning on the corner at my apartment. He caught my eye right away. My father doesn't really like Todd.
Oh, maybe at first, but I think we get along better now.
Todd really wants to impress my dad.
Yeah.
That's actually part of the reason why
Sounds
we're having
good.
this budget wedding. I'm sure Daddy would have paid for a big wedding if I asked, but Todd wants to prove to him that we're self-sufficient.
And we are.
You know, my parents didn't get married until years after they'd already been legal partners. At that point, my mom had already a long list of clients, a really great reputation, so that's why she kept her own last name.
Yeah, plus they would have had to change the name of the law firm. They had to print new business cards, order new signs. It would have been a big hassle, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm keeping my last name. So if everything goes according to plan right before my dad retires, I will get made partner at the firm. That way there will still be a Kennedy in the name. Also, Becca Boner just doesn't really have a great ring to it for a lawyer.
Oh, it's not that big of a deal.
It's kind of a big deal. I've had to go over a year without it, so.
We've been together for 2 years, dear.
I checked someone off my list last year. We promised we wouldn't have to tell each other that. The baseball player.
Oh.
You know that list every couple makes of people they're allowed to sleep with if they ever get the chance to without it being considered cheating?
Yeah, which isn't really fair because I don't sleep with anyone and she knows that. So.
Well, I've been trying to change that for the past 2 years.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to get into heaven, so.
Really? Well, I've been trying to get him into heaven for the last 2 years with no luck.
Well, aren't you supposed to be only putting famous people on your list who you don't know? Convenient.
Besides, Todd put my sister on his list.
That was meant as a compliment alone, okay? She knows that I would never sleep with anyone besides Becca.
Yeah, my sister did not take it as a compliment, and she's still kind of mad about it. She's so competitive. It's kind of annoying. So I was kind of a prodigy in middle school, so I skipped a grade, and then she skipped 2 grades, and then I graduated 5th in my class at Harvard, so she graduated 4th. It's like her only goal in life is to be just marginally better than me at everything she does.
The two of them have been at it since they were very young. Everything is a competition between them.
Yeah, competition, I rarely win, but luckily she did not go into the legal field. She took the easy route, medicine. I'm kidding. No, if she had joined the family firm, I'm sure she would have been made partner 2 years before me, despite being 2 years younger. But
It doesn't bother me. If she wants to keep her own last name to help her career, I'm in full support.
Todd's actually thinking about taking my last name. That way, if we ever adopt children, we won't have to explain why we have different last
Right.
names.
Oh yeah, Becca here loves the idea of adopting children.
Also, we can't really have children of our own because Todd's been sterile ever since his motorcycle accident.
Yeah. Oh, at least my accident was cool.
His friend Greg jumped over a bunch of people on his motorcycle trying to make a viral video. So Todd and all these guys, they were laid down head to toe leading up to the ramp. And Greg almost made it, but his back tire came down right between Todd's legs.
We don't need to describe every detail.
Oh, right. I actually have it on video if you want me to send it to you.
That's not necessary. Yeah, Greg is my best friend. He's a great guy. He's a guitar player.
No, he's hilarious. He does this bit every time I see him where he tries to convince me to dump Todd and go out with him instead. It's so funny. It sounds a little mean, but it's obviously a joke. He does it right in front of Todd. I promise you, it's very funny. Maybe you have to be there.
It's not that funny.
No, it's very funny.
Not that funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Greg is in a band. They're always trying to get me to join.
It's a Kiss tribute band called Hug with 2 Gs. Their whole gimmick is that they only play acoustic versions of Kiss songs.
Yeah. That's the reason why I'm not going to join.
That and Todd only plays the calliope. That's that steam organ they use in the circus, you know. Kiss only uses it in one song, so I don't really see why Todd would have to join.
We had one in our house when we were growing up, and I actually didn't have any interest
I
in
know.
playing it. But
That was the last
learned
concert I
because
went
it was
to.
there, so.
He's kind of shy about performing in front of other people. I totally used to be the same way when performing gymnastics in front of
Jesus.
an audience,
You
so I
hooked
totally
yourself.
get it. He keeps promising he'll play it for me, but he never does.
I promised her that I would play it for her birthday, and I will.
Well, my birthday was 3 days ago.
I meant next year.
Holding you to it.
Okay.
So I just moved out of my parents' house into my parents' apartment building, and I didn't really know my way around the area. So I was running late for a meeting, and when I went outside, I saw Todd spinning his little arrow sign on the corner. So I went up to him and asked for directions, and instead of just telling me where to go, he spun his sign all impressively and pointed in the right direction.
Yeah.
That was like the cutest thing.
Oh, well, she came back after a meeting and she asked for my number, and we went on our first date the next day, and I knew she was the one after our first date.
Mm-hmm. I knew it after the third.
Oh, did you?
Ha!
My parents own a small apartment building on the Upper East Side. They let me live there rent-free. I just pay for utilities. Todd's gonna move in with me once we're married. Apricot's gonna have to move out, but it's totally gonna be worth it. My puppy, her name's Apricot. Unfortunately, Todd is severely allergic to dogs, so she can't be living with us. But I'm sure it won't be hard to find someone who wants to adopt an adorable little teacup Pomeranian. I'll miss her, though. We streamed The Notebook at my place. All my past boyfriends had refused to watch it with me. Todd not only agreed, but he cried multiple times while watching it. I knew right then if he ever proposed to me, I'd have to say yes.
Oh, there were a lot of them. Am I right?
They were all so full of themselves. They were either rich or famous, or both rich and famous. The worst combination. That doesn't impress me.
They weren't as great as they sound, okay?
No, some were actually very cool. But I don't really talk to them anymore. Todd gets a little jealous when I do. But Todd hangs out with all of his ex-girlfriends, except Lily, of course. But, I'm not really worried about them. If he's not sleeping with me, he's definitely not sleeping with them, so...
Oh, Lily, she was just the worst. I wasted 6 months of my life dating her, and that is all that needs to be said.
She used to physically abuse Todd. I'm so proud of him for breaking up with her. Even more for talking about it.
It's not really what she makes it sound like. She doesn't know the whole picture.
I mean, Todd could have easily defended himself. But the thing about Todd is he would never hit a woman. Ever.
Well, no real man ever would.
Especially Lily. I mean, I don't think I could hit a 95-pound elderly woman either.
Yeah.
I used to date this famous singer. I'm not going to name drop because that's gauche, but you definitely know who he is.
A lot of women have been with musicians, and to be honest with you, we all know that musicians are not one-woman men.
It was actually pretty serious between us. I mean, he asked me to move in with him. I met his parents. It was kind of the real deal.
Oh, well, guess he was a good one, but I feel bad for her because he broke up with her.
Actually, I never told Todd this, but I was still with the singer when I met him. I didn't break up with the singer until we became official. It's crazy to think, if I hadn't met Todd when I did, I totally could have been married to the wrong person right now.
So, you cheated on him with me?
This is why I never told you this. Todd's proposal was the most unique one I ever had.
How many people have proposed to you before me?
You were the fourth. I told you this. Oh, the first guy was at the Eiffel Tower. Ugh, so cliche. Second guy did the whole, wedding ring at the bottom of a champagne flute at the 5-star restaurant on Valentine's Day. We've all seen it.
Yeah, these guys have no originality.
The third guy was the worst. He had the proposal up on the Jumbotron at a basketball game. Oh. Like, how was that supposed to impress me? He literally owned the basketball team. He could make it say anything he wanted. It's just, that sort of stuff, it doesn't go far with me.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just the lucky one. What's the next question?
Okay, so Todd was helping me lose weight at the time.
She asked me to help.
And, I'd asked this of other boyfriends before, and they always dismissed me. They were like, "Hun, you're perfect as you are." And I was like, I don't want you dismissing me. If something's important to me, I want my boyfriend to take it seriously,
Again, I was just trying to help. That's all I was.
Oh, you did more than that. He tracked my weight loss. He kept a log of everything I was eating. I mean, it was like having my own personal trainer at home.
Yeah, it was, she laid out everything she wanted me to do. I just did what she asked me to.
And there was like this stubborn last few pounds I just could not seem to get off no matter what. So Todd told me he would marry me if I hit my target weight. And that was all the incentive I needed. I shed those last 3 pounds, stat. I lost it so fast he didn't even have time to save up for the ring.
Well, I thought I was going to have more time.
I literally just didn't eat for 4 days. That's all the motivation I needed. We just decided to skip the whole engagement ring thing and the wedding band thing. It's such an outdated concept. Plus, Todd thinks it's a waste of money.
Well, engagement rings are a scam. There's a great Adam Ruins Everything video about that, actually.
Yeah, plus I deal with a lot of high-profile clients at work, so if I had a ring, it would have to be huge, something that Todd couldn't afford, really. I know that sounds shallow, but, you know, people really do judge you for the clarity and size of your diamond, so it's best I just don't have one at all. Seymour was an older man at the firm. He retired when I was very young. I didn't know him very well. Our firm represents a number of well-known clientele. I'm not really at liberty to name names, but there's a few athletes and politicians who you might have heard of.
You know, I was actually an athlete. I was the star player on my high school football team. And I would have gone pro. Everyone would know my name, but I had a knee injury, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at him. He would have totally made the NFL had it not been for the injury. I mean, once he kicked a 20-yard field goal in a high school game, like, that is extremely unheard of, from what I understand. I almost went pro in gymnastics, but that didn't work out for me either. When I was very little, I trained under the famous Italian gymnastics coach, Sergio Endolini. My parents were convinced I was going to make it to the Olympics. I had the leotards and...
That's enough. Sergio Endolini isn't a real person, all right? We're not married. The only reason I said we were married is because I wanted to get a free room upgrade at the hotel.
As you can tell, he's a cheapskate.
Well, as you can tell, she is a hooker.
Okay, I'm not a hooker. I am a sex worker.
Oh, so I'm so
and
sorry.
we didn't even have sex because you were busy crying the whole time.
Not true, not true, not true.
No, it is kind of true. The only reason I'm still sitting next to this person is because I wanted to be paid for this book, so... And now, you've ruined it, so thank you.
I ruined it?
Yeah,
You're
did.
the one who made me look like a complete loser.
He kind of is.
You know what? I'm sorry for wasting your time. Goodbye.
Can I still get paid?
Well, that's disappointing. I guess there's no reason to consider them as potential heirs anymore.
Hey. Choose unknown. Everybody still watching? I'm gonna choose them, alright? Here we go.
I'm Alice Goodley.
I'm Walter, and this is Sarah.
It's so nice to meet you.
We're from Utah. We are very lucky to live there. Our neighborhood is just dandy. But then again, I guess everybody says that about their hometowns.
We have friendly neighbors, a brand new school, and the best darn volunteer fire department you could ask for.
Well, it's not perfect, though. Crime has been on the rise lately.
Oh, that's true. Last Halloween, 2 houses got toilet papered.
Yeah, a bunch of us pitched in, and we got those houses cleaned up by noon. Still, it was kind of disappointing to know that something like that could happen only a few blocks away.
Cleaning up all that toilet paper was really fun, though.
That's our Sarah, always looking on the bright side of any situation.
Being on the volunteer fire department is considered a huge honor in our town.
There are too many volunteers every year, and they can only let in so many people, so it's very competitive.
Well, the exception is on Thanksgiving. During the parade, they make everyone in town an honorary member. It's a nice gesture, and everyone gets very excited about it.
We go all out for Thanksgiving.
We go all out for all holidays in general. You should visit on Independence Day. We have a top-notch fireworks show every year.
Oh, and don't forget about the Easter egg hunt. That's my favorite.
Oh, God, help me. How
You'd
many
think the hunt
stacks?
was just
8?
about the kids, but it's just as much fun for us grown-ups too. The night
You
before
have to
the hunt,
listen
all the
to
adults get together
every
and spend a
single
few
thing they
hours hiding
say,
the eggs.
every
The
single
next day,
person.
all the kids spend a
And then
few
you
hours
gotta
looking for them.
choose.
It's like the adults get to play
And the
too.
worst thing is,
Sarah
you
takes
choose
hiding
who
these
gets the
tricks
hotel,
very seriously.
and then you have to
Some of the
do it a
places she
whole
finds
thing
the hiding
over
are downright
again because it doesn't
diabolical.
save
Well, I remember
for
what it was like
everybody.
hunting for eggs as a kid. The best feeling was when you'd find an egg.
There
in
is
a
no
marked hiding
backup
spot.
save.
If someone doesn't hide them in places like that, then the kids won't get a chance to feel like that.
Oh,
Sarah
get
never
chills.
does anything without giving it her best effort.
Jesus
You should
Christ.
hear her music lessons.
God, help me.
Sarah's learning to play the piano.
I'm not that good, but I'm trying really hard to get better.
Well, at the rate she's improving, though, she might be a famous musician by this time next year.
She's exaggerating. I wouldn't want to be famous anyway. Piano for
No, there's no way to save it.
me is just like a hobby, like you're knitting or daddy's gardening.
Can't save shit, bro.
When people get famous, they move to a big city so they can make lots of money.
Nope.
Once they've made all that money, they move to the place they really want to live. I already live in the best place I can imagine, so why would I leave in the first place?
I like to make sure my family's eating at least some natural organic food.
Everything is so
I tried that. It doesn't
processed
save
these
it, bro.
days, and you can really taste
I
the
quit
difference
out of it how many
between
times? I went
fresh
right back from the
vegetables
beginning.
from the garden.
Daddy works really hard on his garden.
I don't consider it work. I enjoy it. Plus, it gives me a chance to spend time outside.
Adults
That's
are
not
weird.
working either for
They
some
can
reason.
do anything they want, but if they want to, I don't know, play in the yard, they won't do it unless they find an excuse.
I love Sarah's outlook on life. I do crocheting and knitting. I make clothes and blankets that I donate to local homeless shelters.
We used to just donate money, but there are just too many people in need. There's never enough money to go around, and winters get very cold in Utah.
And since we're able to buy fabric in bulk, we're able to donate 5 or 6 times as many supplies as we could otherwise.
The hats she makes are really nice too. They're so much more comfortable than anything you can buy at a store.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
We love this hotel. We come here every year on vacation.
We take a lot of family vacations together. The only thing better than seeing the world is seeing the world together.
This is my favorite vacation we take. I love coming here to Vegas.
That is true. It's all she talks about for months leading up to the trip.
I do get pretty excited about our vacation time.
I take 2 weeks vacation from my dental practice each year so we can go on a family trip.
It's safe to say our Las Vegas trips are our favorite. This is our 3rd year in a row coming here.
Next year, I'll be old enough to go to the casino floor.
Sarah won't be 21 until next month.
My father and grandfather were both dentists. All the men in my family were. Well, except for my brother Stephen. It's a family tradition.
Stephen is quite the rebel. He lives by his own rules.
He's a pediatrician with Salt Lake City. That's clear across the state from us.
He only comes to visit a few times a year, usually on holidays.
We do drive up to Salt Lake City once in a while. My friend Linda lives there too, so we get to visit her and Stephen in one trip.
A few years ago, we heard that Las Vegas had undergone some changes and was very family friendly now. Once we heard that, we just had to come check it out.
And we were not disappointed. There's a lot more to do here than just gambling and attending wild rock concerts.
Oh,
There's an aquarium, a history museum.
Better get the
and
plot soon
gondola
for this.
rides.
We even found a soup kitchen that lets us volunteer every time we come here.
We do participate in some of the wilder activities too. Last year, we toured the Pinball Hall of Fame.
Jesus
I
Christ.
figured we are in Vegas after all. We might as well get a little crazy while we're here.
Every game is different, people. Every
None of us
fucking game
gamble,
is different.
but I don't understand why it has such a bad reputation.
I've never
Jesus
gambled
Christ,
before,
bro.
but I do want to try it when I turn 21 next year.
I've tried it. Gambling isn't really for me, but it seems like an innocent enough pastime. Linda was my best friend back in high school. She was a bit of a troublemaker back then. To be honest, I was a bit of a rascal myself.
It's true. Alice and Linda were big mischief makers. Now, it may seem hard to believe now, but Alice was quite the prankster in her teenage years.
How come I've never heard
And
about
you want me
this
to get the
before?
sequel?
Well,
Fuck
I'm very
that.
proud of some of the things I did, so I don't talk about
This
it
is what I
much.
was playing all
Can you tell
fucking
me
day
about
long
one
that
of
day, I
them?
know.
Please.
Okay. Every April Fool's Day, Linda and I would send someone a pizza they didn't order as a prank.
Jesus
We
Christ,
paid
man.
cash, so it couldn't be traced back to us. And we'd also tip the drivers. So
I need fucking snacks.
I hope none of those people were trying to lose weight. That could knock someone off their diet.
We were young and reckless. So we didn't think about the consequences back then.
No, I didn't buy the
I certainly
sequel.
got into my fair share of trouble when I was younger.
We've never been to a rock concert. We really should go sometime, though.
Walter wasn't the biggest fan of rock music for the longest time, but it was Sarah that convinced him to give it a try.
All the rock music I heard growing up just seemed so edgy. I figured it wasn't for me.
Daddy just hadn't listened to the right bands.
That's true, because I wasn't the biggest fan of rock music either, when all I ever heard were wild groups like the Beatles and Billy Joel. If Sarah hadn't shown me that there were less rowdy bands out there, I'd probably still be missing out.
It is amazing how much Sarah's changed our lives. Our trips to Salt Lake City are one of the few things we have trouble agreeing on. There's just so much to do, and everybody wants to do something different.
I like to go to the zoo, Sarah likes the planetarium, and Walter likes the Natural History Museum.
We started playing a board game right before our trip. The winner gets to pick where we go.
Sarah usually wins, but she's very gracious when she does. Last time she won, she picked the zoo to make Alice happy.
I won twice in a row. I would have felt selfish if I picked the in forever. It wouldn't have been fair.
Isn't she just the best?
I've caused as much trouble as anyone. I was once suspended from school for smoking. Another time I got detention for a whole week for
I didn't even
class.
buy that yet.
I'm no angel.
I'm kind of
I skipped study hall and snuck in.
I'm kind of being like conservative with the spending because, like I said in the stream, my last check was so
That's
bad
not the whole story,
because
is it?
I missed some
Why
days.
you went to the gym?
I was helping to set up a surprise party for the principal. His 25th anniversary at our school was coming up, so we had to do something for him. My study hall teacher knew and gave me permission to skip class, but I couldn't say that without ruining the surprise party. Still feel bad about lying to the principal.
I downloaded them.
Lying is sometimes okay when it's to help the person you're lying to, like when we got you your glasses.
I know, Daddy, but it still feels wrong.
Sarah used to babysit a little girl named Emily. She really looked up to Sarah. She always said she wanted to be just like her when she grew up.
One day, Emily had to get glasses, and she looked really cute, but she hated how they looked. She was super self-conscious about it, and she couldn't even stand to go to school anymore.
That's when Sarah came to me and asked if I could get her vision checked. She figured if she wore glasses too, then Emily wouldn't feel so bad about them anymore.
Daddy took me to get tested, but unfortunately my vision was 20/20.
I've never seen somebody so disappointed to have good vision. That's when I took Sarah to the mall to get her a pair of fake glasses.
Daddy's the best. I started wearing them whenever I was around Emily, and it worked like a charm. She started liking her own glasses almost immediately.
We all love doing charity work, but to be honest, Alice and I don't find nearly as much time as we should. Sarah, on the other hand, always finds the time.
She volunteers every week at an assisted living facility, a food bank, and an animal shelter. I wish I had her youthful energy.
Thank you. They're just being modest. They both do plenty.
When I was younger, I did what I could. Now all I really do is make the occasional donation.
What about when we went to the beach last summer?
That's true. We spent the day cleaning the beach, and we had a contest among ourselves to see who could collect the most trash bags worth of litter.
Daddy won by a full bag.
It doesn't matter who fills the most bags. What matters is doing our part for the environment.
Every piece of litter you pick up off the beach is one less piece that'll make it into the ocean. That's what Daddy always says. I've been helping out at the shelter for over a year now. I love working with the animals.
We used to be part of the neighborhood pet patrol.
Whenever anyone in our town lost a pet, we'd post flyers and work the phones until that family had their missing member back.
I miss doing that.
We used to be part of the pet patrol, but it's handled online now. I hear it's very efficient, but we don't have the internet in our house, so we're not part of it anymore.
I love volunteering there.
Some of Sarah's best friends are residents there.
She's talking about Harold and Eleanor. I've learned so much from them.
They love having her there, too. They tell me all the time.
Yeah,
Walter and I thought we did our fair share of volunteering, but
I chose
Sarah
the
put us to
magician,
shame.
and I got a plot. Not a plot. I got trophies for that, so I'm gonna choose them this time, or try to.
Eleanor was a phone operator for most of her life. From what she says, there was a time when operators had to manually make phone calls go through. I can't even wrap my head around that.
I've known Eleanor for years. She organized the town's first bake sale, and she always had the best Christmas decorations every year when I was growing up.
Our town gets very into Christmas.
This is so
lights.
fucking
Walking
cringe,
around
my
and looking
God.
at all the decorated houses, it's a tradition for us.
I prefer driving around. It's a lot warmer.
Can't disagree with that. Sarah and
You
I
can't
went to
skip
the
it, bro. I'm
winter
trying to look.
winter does.
Oh, I've always loved the winter. Playing outside in the snow is one of my favorite things growing up. I've made more than my fair share of snow.
Can't skip shit, bro.
Me too.
When I was little, a tornado hit our town.
Jesus
Two
Christ.
families lost their
Please.
homes.
Oh my gosh.
Language, honey.
Sorry, Daddy.
Eleanor hosted a bake sale to raise money for those families.
The bake sale turned into an annual event. They raise money for a new cause every year.
It's a really big deal. Everyone in town knows.
Alice actually runs the bake sale now. She took over for Eleanor when she retired.
Oh, God. Please
Sarah
finish.
used to only volunteer there once a month. She wanted to work more, but they didn't need the help.
True, but when Sarah wants something, she finds a way to make it happen.
Jesus Christ.
While working there, I learned that a lot of the local homeless people were illiterate.
She talked them into letting her use their facility to hold a literacy class once a week.
It's every Friday night from 6 to 9. There wasn't a lot of attendance at first, but it's a pretty full class now. And I've made some good friends there, too.
It's Sarah stay out until 9:30 now. I don't want her coming home that late, but she's really making a difference in people's lives.
Oh, fuck off.
Harold is the friendliest person you'll ever meet.
Oh
He
my
can go on
God.
for hours about the past.
He used to own the hardware store in town when I was a kid. They had a toy section that was only a few feet wide, but it felt like
Oh,
a full
wait.
toy store to us kids.
Wait.
You know, the way you're going
Pay
on
attention
about the
to what they're
past
gonna say
makes you
soon.
sound a little like Harold.
Well, I
You're
don't
gonna
think I'm
crack
quite
up.
the storyteller Harold is. He really likes to go into detail.
That's true. He once told me a story about toilet paper that lasted for 20 minutes. It was a good story.
We've all heard that one. Harold likes to go on and on about how toilet paper rolls have gotten smaller and smaller over the years. So now you have to buy a 12-pack of toilet paper just to get the same amount of toilet paper that used to come in a 4-pack.
He has a point. I mean, if they still made them like they used to, my grocery trips would be a lot easier. I know people who have internet in their homes, and it does seem pretty useful, but there is a lot of bad stuff online.
I've been online, and there's a lot of good stuff on there, too.
I'm sure it has its uses. It's just too easy to stumble across unpleasant language or other bad things. I just don't want it in my home.
Walter's dental practice does have its own website. People can book appointments online.
My secretary Janet runs the site for me. We have internet at the office, and she is great at using it. She spends some of her downtime on a website called the TikTok.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. What is it for?
Honestly, I have no idea. Janet has showed it to me multiple times, and I just can't wrap my head around it.
I've known Janet for years. She's in my book club.
I play golf with her husband, Frank. They're good people.
Frank and Janet invited us up to their fishing cabin this weekend, but we had to turn them down.
We didn't want to be rude by declining, but fishing really isn't our cup of tea.
I just don't see how snatching another life form from their home could be fun. What did those poor fishies ever do to us?
One thing you should never do is stiff a service worker. Tips are most of their income.
I'm ashamed to admit I am guilty of that myself. There was a time where I didn't know you were supposed to tip housekeepers when you stayed at a hotel. I'd been traveling for years before I realized it. I have no idea how many housekeepers I stiffed without realizing it.
A lot of people aren't sure when they're supposed to tip and when they aren't. It's a big problem.
Well, I don't use a smartphone myself, but I hear one of the big problems these days is people don't know they're supposed to tip app workers.
I thought everyone knew that one. We're a flip phone family.
I love flip phones. They're inexpensive, the battery lasts a full week, and they don't break when you drop them.
I like knowing Sarah has plenty of charge on her phone in case she needs a ride.
Well, you know, if I had a smartphone, I wouldn't have to bother you or Daddy when I need a ride. I could just use an app.
She's talking about those ride-share services. I just don't understand those. I mean, when I was growing up, we were told never to talk to
That was
strangers
before the
on internet
smartphones.
and not to get into a car with a stranger. But now there's an app that literally lets you summon a stranger on the internet so
Oh
you
my
can
God.
get in their car. I don't understand why they're so popular.
I'm sure there's plenty of useful apps on those things, but everybody that I know that has a smartphone, they just text each other. I prefer having to call someone. It's more of a social interaction for me.
Jesus Christ.
Walter likes the winter, but you will not catch me outside if there's snow on the ground.
We've never helped Daddy shovel snow once. We just stay inside with the heat cranked up.
Believe me, they more than make up for it in the summertime. I can't remember the last time I watered the lawn.
We do love finding excuses to work outside during the summer.
I'm starting a charity car wash. I already have a bunch of other girls signed up. We're starting on Memorial Day.
I love the car wash idea. There are always plenty of worthy charities that need the money.
Plus, it's a lot of fun. It's like getting to go to a water park for free. I was walking to my next class when a kid I didn't know dropped a pack of cigarettes. I instinctively picked them up for him, but just as I did, a teacher happened to see me holding them and sent me to the principal's office. I couldn't say they weren't mine without telling on the other kids, so I got suspended.
It worked out for the best. The kid eventually felt bad that Sarah was taking the blame for him and told the principal what really happened. Then he later became Sarah's first boyfriend.
It's not what it sounds like. A couple of girls at school were playing a prank on this kid, Tommy. He was really unpopular. They pretended he had a secret admirer and started passing him all these fake notes. They were just building up his hopes to crush them. Eventually, so many kids got in on the prank that nobody even knew where it started. I didn't want to see him get hurt, so I pretended I was the admirer and we dated for 2 months. He turned out to be a nice guy, but I was only 17 at the time and nowhere near ready for a boyfriend yet. I love water parks. One of my favorite things about living in Utah is that we have so many of them.
I'm a bit of a water slide enthusiast myself.
I'm not really into the water slides. My favorite part is the lazy river.
I think Sarah's favorite part is all the attention she gets from boys when she gets to wear her bathing suit.
That's nice too, but I've always loved water parks. My parents used to take me all the time when I was growing up.
My favorite ride is the one where you have to cross a bunch of lily pads while holding on to the rope.
Walter always makes it across, though. That defeats the purpose. You're supposed to fall in. What's the point of going to a water park if you're not going to get wet?
I like the challenge. It's hard to get across. Plus, my feet get wet.
I don't think he gets it. My mom and dad live just a few blocks away from us, so I get to see them all the time.
Oh, did you think Sarah was our daughter? We get that a lot.
I just don't understand why so many people think we're related. I don't see the resemblance.
Yeah, Sarah and I aren't related, but we are married to the same daddy.
We met Sarah when she was 18 and fell in love right away. She became my second wife 6 months later.
Well, I could never live up to his first wife, though. Alice is amazing.
Oh, Sarah's just being modest. She is an incredible wife.
She's a crackerjack in the bedroom as well.
That's just because I had such a great teacher.
Oh, Sarah's the real teacher. Did you know that you could use your feet in the bedroom? We had never heard of such a thing, but Sarah showed us, and now, by golly, Walter can't get enough of it.
And don't forget the thing you do that Alice likes. I have no idea how she comes up with these things.
Well, I didn't invent them. I learned them on the internet.
Oh, the internet doesn't seem that bad. Maybe we should think about getting a computer.
Can we, Daddy, please?
Ah!
Well, I did not see that coming. I only considered Sarah because, well, she seemed like such a sweet, wholesome girl. I had no idea she was married to an older man who already had a wife.
The fuck?
I don't know what to think about that.
Fuck that. Yeah. Jesus Christ. This one is the most... I just can't even listen to her talk. She's fucking ridiculous, but you can't pick. You gotta talk to everybody. I guess we'll talk to her.
I'm Ashley. I live here in Las Vegas. I spend most of my time practicing magic, and I am single. What else do you want to know?
Fuck off. I chose her first time to get the hotel with her. That was the trophy I got. So we're not going to choose her, but we have to go through all these people. Well, maybe not. Let me see.
What is there to say? I guess I'm a little bit down on my luck right now, between jobs. I had 2 job interviews earlier this week, and I'm hoping to have more soon. I don't like to admit this usually.
Was she like the
but it might be
parent, mother, or
important for your
something?
book. I'm actually homeless currently. It might surprise you that I actually came from a fairly wealthy family. My dad was some sort of hotshot furniture salesman, and my mom was a cable TV installer. We actually owned our own house. It was double wide. But yeah, I guess I always thought I'd be a big success like my parents, and I guess it's just alright that they're not around anymore so that they don't have to see what my life has turned into. You know, I didn't exactly meet their high expectations.
I've been performing my magic act here since the last time it was renovated. Huh. Never heard of the place before that. I like it here. I like Mr. Davenport, too. He's very hands-off. I appreciate the fact that he doesn't try to give me input about my show.
This is what I'm saying. This is what happens. Every time I play this game, it freezes. You can't get the plot. Ever. It overloads. It can't handle it. And there's nothing I could do. You can't. You're stuck. This is what I'm saying, Unknown. This is what I mean. They can't. I can't get the plot. Every fucking time this does this. I just sat here for what? And now I'm not getting not one trophy. Not one trophy because it's jammed. It's not going to do shit, bro. It's not going to do shit. This has happened to me. I was playing this game all day and this kept doing it. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Listening to this all day long. This is why I lost some spots on the leaderboards that time because fucking playing this fucking... Well, not spots, but I mean, people catching up because of this shit. I gotta fucking probably delete it and reinstall it, I guess. I'm not going through this again. This is why it's going to stay in the backlog. Because it's not working. I mean, I guess I could contact the developer. I don't know, it just keeps fucking freezing all the time. I'm surprised nobody has this problem. Unless my PS5 is overheating. Which I don't even fucking know, to tell you the truth. I'm done. I would have wanted to get the plot for this. Thank you. Thank you, Unknown. You get it for yourself. You played this shit. What a twist, right? The Goody family. She's a freaky deaky second wife. Jesus Christ. Ridiculous. Come on, man. Please, do something. Can't you just... Oh, fuck. They gotta do something about this. This is crazy. I did it. That was the one I did. No, but you have to fucking look at this shit. You can't. This is so fucked up. I gotta talk to him. This fucking... Fuck, bro. That sucks. That sucks. It keeps doing it, this game. You can't get the plot at all. What does it say for the percentage on PSN profiles? Alright. I can't move the camera.